Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gene Garan. I'm your hard money lender and also your contractor. I want to talk about hard money in this video. In this video, you probably seen the thumbnail already. It says what you need to know for hard money. So those of you watching this video is going to be for someone who doesn't understand hard money, or you probably applied for it once, maybe twice, and got the loan. Or if you never applied for it, you don't understand what it is or don't grasp the concept at all. I'm gonna break down what it is, how the process goes, what do you need, what to look out for, just so you can have a good understanding of what to do when you get in a position when you're applying for hard money. All right, so let's get into the video. All right, before we even get really fully started in this video, here's a few things I want you to understand. It's quick terminology that you need to understand for yourself. If you ever hear the word PP, that means purchase price. If you ever hear rehab, that just means your scope of work. How much work are you going to need to fix the property to get it up to par? Think about how would you live in this house? Would it be up to your standards? That's all I'm gonna say about that. The next one I'm gonna say is essentially this. If you hear ARV, that means after repair value. That means after all the work is done, that's the value that you can put it on the multiple listing service, or you can sell it to a person that they'll buy it for that value. Typically, you're gonna do some comps, some research online to get comparables so you can understand the ARV. I'm not gonna break these down in this video. However, I'll probably do another video for you so you can get this better down pat. All right, let's get into the video. All right, what is hard money? Hard money is a loan that you will get on a distressed property or on a property where a secondary party will lend you the money and you cannot go through the traditional routes, meaning your FHA conventional type of loans or VA type of loans. You can't necessarily get those if the property needs a lot of work, it needs renovations, and they won't fund it to you. The only exception to that is a 203 loan that you can get with a contractor, but that's a whole different exception. Some of you watching this video are like, oh, you can get this. That's an exception to this, okay? So what I would say to you who are looking to get hard money is know that it's like a secondary, I would say a third market, really, secondary market. In that market, you have private money, which a person could be like myself, you could be a doctor, a lawyer who might lend you money on a property, and they hold the first position, meaning that if you have a loan on the property, they want to be the first lien holder on that property. And typically they'll lend you money. Typically anyone who's lending you private money or hard money never wants to be secondary position. I would say almost like a sense of you getting a HELOC on your traditional home. They don't want to be that in that place. So hard money will lend you money they lend on the property. They don't necessarily care about all your credit, or, if you have like judgments on you currently, that might be a little bit different situation, but we don't necessarily care about what exactly all the stuff you got going on. The property makes sense. We're gonna loan to LLC, and that LLC, you could be the one that's managing that LLC. It could be a partnership LLC. We're gonna loan to that LLC, and we only loan in business entities. We'll loan in a trust too as well, but we won't loan to an individual. Reason for that is we don't want to be able to harder to foreclose on an individual than it is to foreclose on an entity. Don't ask me why, that's just how it works. I'll break that down in another video for you guys. But hard money essentially in a nutshell is this. You're looking for money to buy a property that's distressed, or you're looking to buy a property that needs a lot of work, and you don't go through traditional routes, go through all this hiccup. The money is lent exactly on the property itself and the condition it's in. Typically, you get the money to rehab the property as well. All right, here's the part of the video that I want to really talk about is what to look out for. Not all hard money lenders are created equally. There are some that are very investor friendly. There are some that are not really in the business 100%. It's probably a secondary thing for them. It's probably, hey, they probably have a loan business and hard money is a secondary. You want to find someone who's really in the nitty gritty of hard money lending because they understand all the intricate parts that the investor goes through. So here's what you need to look out for. If someone tells you they can't fund a deal quickly, that means they don't have the capacity or the team. That's just the reality of it. Anyone who's in hard money lending understands you can close quick, at most 20 days, to be honest with you. If anyone's asking you to pay a processing fee out the gate, I would run. Some people that's how to run their business, I'm not saying anything, I would run. If they actually pay for appraisal, I understand. But just a processing fee, just to start the application fee, nah, I don't agree. Find someone else. Do some real research, find somebody else. Also, if they're doing their research and they can't give you a term sheet within 3 to 5 business days, I would run too. Those are the things I would look out for when you're trying to get hard money lending. We typically can give you a term sheet within 24 to 48 hours. My longest process has been, outside of holidays, 4 days. And I'm just being honest with you. Those are the things you look out for. I'm not paying for processing fee. Although you get reimbursed, what if you don't approve me? I lose that money. I would rather someone who's gonna work with you so you can get this process done and go with someone you feel comfortable with, okay? So what type of properties need hard money? Typically, fix and flip needs hard money. If you're gonna do the BRRRR strategy, you're probably gonna use hard money the first go round so you can cash out refi. I'll probably make a video about that later, but typically properties are distressed. Property that needs help, that needs renovations. So you're gonna find a property that needs a lot of work or it just needs minimal work to get it up to standards where it could be livable, and you can either add improvements to it and get a higher return, meaning that the ARV, which is the after repair value, is substantially higher than what you purchased it for, plus the money you put in the house to fix it. So what you'll probably need to find is a distressed property. If you find a distressed property, you want to flip it. So if you want to flip it, you're gonna need a hard money. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna need the following criteria if you want to flip a property. Here's what you're gonna need. And it doesn't matter if you're flipping that house to turn it into a rental or you're flipping it for a resale. As long as you're flipping the house and you're not trying to live in the house, that's exactly what we're looking for. We're not looking for anyone that says, I'm gonna flip this house and live into it. That's not gonna work with hard money because then it defeats the purpose. You wanna cash out refi for a rental and you wanna make sure that the property is actually gonna be for sale. If you don't have a primary residence, it's kind of hard for you because we don't know what's gonna happen. You know, if you don't have a house really, or you don't live somewhere primarily, it looks kind of, we look at that a little bit like, person trying to flip this house for them or they're trying to flip it for sale. So we always kind of look into that. I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but they kind of look into that. So once you find this property, you're gonna need the following information. You're gonna need to know how much you're buying it for. You're gonna need to know what's the scope of work. So essentially, how much it's gonna cost you to fix it. Whenever you hear scope of work, mean how much it's gonna cost you to fix it. So make sure you understand that. Get a contractor to go out there, maybe 3. I would recommend you go and get 3. Is the rules of 3. Get 3 contractors to give you bids, and then you'll furnish a scope of work to us so we can lend you the money. One thing we wanna look at is how much you're buying the property for and how much you're gonna put into it to renovate it. If you're putting a lot of money into this house to a point where it surpasses what you can resell it for, we won't lend money to you. They won't lend anything to you at all. But if you're buying it for the right price, which we call in our terminology, if you hear the word PP, that means purchase price. And if you hear the word rehab or scope of work, they're the same thing. If the purchase price and the rehab together combined is underneath the ARV, I would say about at least $50,000. Typically, you're gonna get a loan, typically, because you have a buffer, you have a good equity position in that deal where it makes sense. So you gotta buy for the right price. My typical rule of thumb is if you're looking for a house, I do this simple math. So whatever you think you can sell the property for when it's all fixed, which is called the ARV, divide that by 70%. So 70%, whatever you're gonna pay for that. So times that by 70%. 70% minus the rehab cost, that should be your purchase price. Let's keep it simple. Let's say for a $100,000 house that you're gonna, after you fix it, it's gonna be worth $100,000. So it's gonna be worth $100,000, so you can't really purchase the house for $100,000. So you gotta buy for 70%. 70% minus the rehab. So let's just say, for instance, 70% is gonna be $70,000. Let's say your rehab is $20,000. So now you gotta do 70% times 100, which would be $70,000 minus $20,000, which means you can only purchase this property for $50,000. That's how you get the formula. So when you buy for $50,000 and you gotta put 20 into it, the deal is appealing. A hard money lender will lend to you. Now, I will say this, some hard money lenders have thresholds and minimums. They will not lend a minimum 75,000, where our threshold here is we'll lend to you. Private money is 50,000. Hard money, minimum $75,000. So if you have a deal with the rehab and the purchase price, you're over $75,000, you're in the mix. If it's a deal with $50,000, I could typically get one of my private money people to kind of fund that deal for you, which you have a network of them to do so. So that's the formula you would do. And if you want to go ahead and process that, that's an ideal property to process because you have a buffer there. All right, next, do you need credit? No, we don't really care about your credit as much. Now, some hard money lenders will care about it. We just want to see you don't have any if you do have bankruptcies, as long as you have an explanation letter will help. We'll still lend to you. But typically, we don't really care about the credit as much. We just care about the property. Does it have value? Are you gonna be able to flip it? Are you gonna be able to cash refi and get your money out and pay us back? That's all we care about. So here's a list of things you're gonna need when you flip a house or you use hard money lender. You're gonna need to know purchase contract agreement, scope of work, credit authorization form, so we can see if you don't have any pending things on your, or, maybe like a judgment or whatever case may be. And that's essentially it, and 2 months bank statement, wherever you're sourcing the money from. These are 4 things we need. If you can provide these things right here, you typically can get a term sheet within 24 to 48 hours. Now, we can fund a deal in 3 to 4 days, generally. If the title work is done, we can fund this deal. So in this video, just so you know, if a hard money lender is gonna take 30 days, they're not necessarily a hard money lender. Typical hard money lenders can close a deal within 7 to 10, at max 15 days. 20 days are for people who don't have the pull, the juice. Yeah, if you're in a hurry, we can close that fast. I'll just say that. Some people are like, oh, you know, we can close in, no, you can close in 20 days. If the title work is done, oh, for sure we can close in a good time frame. All right.